Hello, my friend. Welcome to this English listening practice. I'm happy you are here with me. Today, let's learn English through a true story. Before we begin, feel free to like this video or leave a comment. Your support helps us share more stories with learners like you. This time, our story is about Abdul Kalam, a scientist and a leader. As you listen, I invite you to relax and imagine each part of his life. Let's begin the journey of Abdul Kalam. Chapter 1. Early Life and Family. Abdul Kalam was born on October 15, 1931. His full name was Avul Pakir Jainulabdin Abdul Kalam. He was born in a small town called Rameswaram. This town is in the southern part of India, in the state of Tamil Nadu. His family lived near the sea. His father's name was Jainulabdin, and his mother's name was Ashiyama. Abdul Kalam's father was not rich. He was a boat owner and also a religious man. He often helped travelers who came to the mosque. His mother was kind and gentle. She loved to cook and take care of her children. Abdul Kalam had 4 brothers and 1 sister. He was the youngest child in the family. Their house was simple. It was not big, but it was full of love. They did not have many things, but they had strong values. They believed in hard work, honesty, and respect. Abdul Kalam learned these values from his parents. He grew up watching his father pray and work quietly every day. As a child, Abdul Kalam sold newspapers. He did this before going to school. He wanted to help his family. He woke up early each morning and delivered the papers. Then he went to school with his books. He never complained. He believed in doing his duty. One day, he saw an airplane flying in the sky. He stopped and looked up. It was the first time he saw something like that. His eyes were wide with wonder. At that moment, he felt something special. He wanted to learn how things fly. He did not know it yet, but this moment was the beginning of his life journey. Chapter 2. Education and Childhood Interests. Abdul Kalam loved to learn. He was a quiet and thoughtful boy. At school, he listened carefully to his teachers. He asked questions and tried to understand new ideas. He was especially good at mathematics. Numbers made him happy. He could solve problems quickly and enjoyed working with them. His teachers saw something special in him. One teacher, Ayadurai Solomon, gave him great support. He told Abdul Kalam that confidence was important. "You must believe in yourself," he said. These words stayed in Abdul Kalam's heart. He began to dream big dreams. After school, he spent time reading. He read books about science and flying machines. He often visited the local library. He sat on the floor for hours and turned each page slowly. He imagined rockets, planes, and the sky. He wanted to understand how these machines worked. Abdul Kalam also liked to build small models. He used paper, wood, and wires. He made boats, planes, and small motors. He did not always have the right tools. Still, he kept working. Sometimes, things did not work. He just tried again. His hands were always busy, and his mind was full of ideas. During this time, India was still under British rule. Life was not easy, but Abdul Kalam stayed focused on his studies. He believed education could open new doors. He worked hard and passed his school exams with good marks. His family was proud of him. Then came a big step. He left Rameswaram and went to the city of Ramanathapuram. He joined Schwartz Higher Secondary School. Life in the city was very different. The streets were busy. The classrooms were large. He missed his home, but he stayed strong. He wanted to learn more and reach higher goals. At Schwartz School, he met students from many backgrounds. Some were rich and some were poor. Abdul Kalam did not care about money or status. He respected everyone. He believed that all people were equal. He made friends and helped others with their studies. He became known as a kind and helpful student. In those years, he also began to understand science in a deeper way. He learned about physics, chemistry, and machines. These subjects made him excited. He wanted to go further and study engineering. That dream became his goal. His journey had started in a small house near the sea, but his eyes were now on the stars. He was ready to take the next step. He wanted to build a future not only for himself, but also for his country. Chapter 3. Academic Journey and Early Career. After finishing school, Abdul Kalam moved to the city of Tiruchirappalli. He joined St. Joseph's College. At first, he studied physics. He continued to work hard and passed his exams. His teachers saw that he was smart and serious. He was not only a good student, but also a respectful and polite young man. But soon, he felt something was missing. He enjoyed physics, but he wanted to learn about flying and machines. He wanted to become an engineer. After completing his degree in science, he applied to the Madras Institute of Technology, known as MIT. This was a top college in India. Getting into MIT was not easy. The fee was also high. His family did not have enough money. So his sister gave her jewelry to help pay for his studies. Abdul Kalam never forgot this. He studied day and night. He wanted to make his family proud. At MIT, he chose to study aerospace engineering. It was his dream to build flying machines. His course was difficult. The classes were full of formulas and designs. But Abdul Kalam worked hard. He loved learning about engines and aerodynamics. He spent many hours in the lab. During his final year, he worked on a special project. His team had to design a small aircraft. Their professor gave them a deadline. If they failed, they could not graduate. Abdul Kalam took charge. He worked for days without rest. He guided his team and completed the project on time. The professor was very impressed. He told Abdul Kalam that he had a bright future. After graduation, Abdul Kalam applied for a job at the Indian Air Force. He wanted to become a pilot. He reached the final round. There were only 8 seats, but he came 9th. He was very sad. It was one of the lowest moments of his life, but he did not give up. He later wrote, "I was not chosen to fly planes. I was chosen to build them." These words show his spirit. He took failure as a lesson. He moved forward with more strength. Soon, he got a job at the Defense Research and Development Organization. His job was to design small aircraft for the Army. It was a big step. He had entered the world of science and technology. He was now ready to begin his real work. Chapter 4. Contributions to Science and Technology. At DRDO, Abdul Kalam began working on small projects. He designed hovercrafts and simple machines, but his heart was not fully happy. He wanted to do something bigger. He wanted to build rockets and satellites. After a few years, he got a new opportunity. He was invited to join the Indian Space Research Organization. This was a big turning point in his life journey. At ISRO, he worked with a team of young scientists. Their dream was to launch India's first satellite on an Indian rocket. At that time, India did not have its own rocket launch system. Everything had to be built from the beginning. The project was called SLV-3, Satellite Launch Vehicle. Abdul Kalam became the project director. It was a huge responsibility. He worked day and night with his team. They had limited tools and money, but they had strong willpower. They believed in their dream. In 1979, the first launch failed. The rocket went into the sky, but it did not reach the correct path. The satellite fell into the sea. It was a sad day. The whole team felt heartbroken. Abdul Kalam stood in front of the media. He took full responsibility for the failure. His leader, Dr. Satish Dhawan, stood beside him and said, "We will try again." 1 year later, in 1980, they tried again. This time, the SLV-3 successfully launched the satellite Rohini into space. It was a proud moment for India. People across the country celebrated. Abdul Kalam became a national hero. His team hugged each other with tears of joy. After this success, he worked on many more projects. One important project was the Agni missile. It was part of India's defense program. He also helped build the Prithvi missile, which was short-range and used for the army. These projects made India stronger and more self-reliant. Abdul Kalam believed in teamwork. He often said, "Great things can only be done by great teams." He always supported young scientists. He listened to their ideas and helped them grow. His office was always open to everyone. He also helped India build its own computers. At that time, computers were new and expensive. Abdul Kalam helped design simple computers for Indian use. He believed technology should help the common people. His work earned him many awards and honors. But he always stayed humble. He once said, "I am not special. I am just a man who loves his work." His love for science, hard work, and service became an example for the whole country. Chapter 5. Role in India's defense and space programs. In the 1980s and 1990s, Abdul Kalam played a leading role in India's missile program. He worked in the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, IGMDP. This program focused on building strong and reliable defense systems. It included 5 types of missiles: Agni, Prithvi, Trishul, Akash, and Nag. These names came from Indian culture and history. Abdul Kalam became the main person behind this program. He worked with scientists, engineers, and army experts. They all worked as one team. Their goal was clear: make India strong and safe. Kalam guided the teams with kindness and energy. He gave hope to young scientists. He often said, "Dreams are not what you see in sleep. Dreams are what do not let you sleep." In 1989, India successfully launched the Agni missile. This was a long-range missile. It could travel far and carry important payloads. The test was a great success. People across India felt proud. Abdul Kalam's name became known in every home. Newspapers called him the Missile Man of India. Kalam also helped in building India's nuclear technology. He worked with top scientists and government leaders. In 1998, India tested 5 nuclear bombs in Pokhran, a desert area in Rajasthan. These tests were secret. They were called Operation Shakti. The world was surprised. India had shown great strength and technology. After the tests, Kalam gave a press conference. He looked calm but proud. He said, "India is now a nuclear nation." These words made headlines. He became a symbol of India's growth in science and defense. But even in this proud moment, he stayed simple. He gave full credit to his team and leaders. During this time, he also worked as a scientific advisor to the government of India. He helped plan big science and defense projects. He spoke with ministers, army leaders, and scientists. He made sure technology and safety were always improving. He believed India should build its own machines, tools, and systems. One time, a young boy asked him, "Sir, are missiles dangerous?" Kalam smiled and said, "Only when used to harm, but when used to protect, they are like a shield." This answer showed how he thought. He always believed science should serve peace. Though he worked with missiles and machines, Abdul Kalam never stopped thinking about people. He often visited schools and colleges. He gave talks to students and shared stories. He told them to study well and serve the country. He believed every young person could do something great. His work in India's space and defense fields changed the country's future. He helped India become strong, safe, and smart. He did this not for fame, but for love of the nation. His life journey became a real story of science and service. Chapter 6. Becoming the President of India. In the early 2000s, Abdul Kalam was already a well-known person in India. People respected him not only as a scientist, but also as a kind and honest man. He had worked for many years in science, space, and defense. He had no interest in power or politics. But in 2002, something surprising happened. The leaders of India wanted him to become the next president of India. They believed he could bring hope and unity. People across the country supported this idea. Children, teachers, workers, and even political leaders were happy. Everyone respected Abdul Kalam. That year, he was elected as the 11th president of India. He became the first scientist and the first person from a poor background to hold that office. His swearing-in ceremony took place in July 2002. He wore a simple gray suit and smiled gently. His face showed both peace and strength. As president, he lived in Rashtrapati Bhavan, the grand house of the Indian president in New Delhi. But he kept his life simple. He did not ask for luxury. He carried only one suitcase when he moved in. Inside were books, clothes, and some papers. That was all he needed. President Kalam was very active. He traveled to many states and spoke to people of all ages. He loved talking with children. In every school he visited, he spent extra time with students. He listened to their dreams and told them to work hard. One child asked him, "How can I become like you?" Kalam answered, "Have a big dream and never stop working for it." He also used technology to connect with students. He started the Interactive Satellite Classroom program. This allowed him to speak to thousands of students across the country at the same time. It was a new and exciting idea. Many children saw him as a teacher more than a politician. During his time as president, he continued to write. He wrote books like Wings of Fire and Ignited Minds. These books became popular, especially among young readers. In them, he shared his real story, his ideas, and his dreams for India. He also made important decisions as president. He signed laws, met world leaders, and gave speeches in parliament. But he always said, "The best part of my job is meeting the youth." He was not interested in politics or power. His main goal was to inspire the next generation. In 2007, his term as president ended. Many people wanted him to stay for a second term, but he said no. He believed one term was enough. He wanted to return to teaching and writing. He left the office with grace, just as he had entered, with a small bag, a warm smile, and a big heart. Chapter 7. Life after the presidency. After leaving the office of president, Abdul Kalam returned to what he loved most, meeting young people and teaching. He did not rest. He began to travel across India once again. He visited schools, colleges, science centers, and small villages. Wherever he went, students gathered around him. He gave talks about science, education, and the future. But he also spoke about honesty, kindness, and service. He said, "A nation becomes great only when its people are great." His words were simple but full of meaning. Students listened closely. They asked questions, and he answered with care. He became a visiting professor at many top institutions. He worked with ISC Bangalore, Anna University, IITs, and others. He taught subjects like technology, energy, and space. But he also gave time to small colleges in remote areas. He believed that knowledge should reach every corner of the country. In one small school, a boy said, "Sir, we do not have a library." Abdul Kalam said, "Then I will send you books." He kept his promise. A few weeks later, the school received books with a message from him. He wrote, "These books are my friends. Now they will be yours too." He also continued writing. His books became bestsellers in many languages. In Indomitable Spirit and You Are Born to Blossom, he shared new ideas for education and youth. His writing style was clear and friendly. Many English learners read his books for practice and inspiration. Abdul Kalam also helped with new science and social projects. He supported clean energy, low-cost healthcare, and rural development. He visited farming villages and suggested ways to improve life. He believed that technology should help the poorest people. He always said, "If we cannot remove poverty, then our science has failed." Though he was no longer in power, many world leaders still came to meet him. He spoke at global events, but he never acted important. He always said, "I am a teacher first, then anything else." He was happy to sit with children and answer their dreams. One day, during a college event, a student asked, "Sir, what is your biggest success?" He smiled and said, "My biggest success is when one student tells me, 'You helped me believe in myself.'" That was the kind of man he was. He never stopped working, reading, or sharing his knowledge. Until his final days, he remained active, hopeful, and close to the hearts of the people. Chapter 8. Values and Life Philosophy. Abdul Kalam lived a life guided by strong values. He believed in honesty, hard work, and simple living. He never chased money or fame. He once said, "I have 2 small rooms, some books, and many dreams." He was a man of few needs but deep thoughts. His daily life was quiet and organized. He woke up early and started each day with reading and prayer. He respected all religions. He read the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, and also the Bible. He believed all faiths teach love and peace. He said, "We are all children of the same earth." Abdul Kalam believed in the power of dreams. He often said, "Dream big, but also work hard every day." For him, dreaming was not just about thinking, it was about doing something. He taught that small actions lead to big changes. He also believed in learning for life. Even after becoming president, he read books every day. He studied new science, world history, and spiritual ideas. He liked to learn from young people too. He once said, "Youth have fresh minds. I learn from them as much as they learn from me." Respect was another important value for him. He showed respect to everyone, whether it was a world leader or a school child. He listened with full attention. He answered letters, emails, and questions with care. Once, a student wrote to him saying, "Sir, I have no hope." Kalam called him and talked for 10 minutes. That boy later said it changed his life. Kalam also believed in giving, not taking. He donated most of his earnings to charities and education programs. He lived a simple life, wore simple clothes, and ate simple food. When he traveled, he often stayed in small guest houses or university dorms. He never asked for special treatment. Another core idea in his life was service to the country. He believed that serving the nation was the highest honor. He often said, "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." These words became a guide for many young Indians. He also believed deeply in peace. Though he worked on defense projects, he never wanted war. He believed in using science for safety, not destruction. He said, "Strength respects strength, but peace is the goal." His values made him more than a scientist or president. They made him a true leader. His life journey touched millions, not through power, but through example. He showed how a person can rise from a small town and light the path for a whole nation. Chapter 9. Inspiration to the Youth. Abdul Kalam became a symbol of hope for the young people of India. He visited more than 500 schools and colleges during his lifetime. No other Indian leader had done this before. He believed that children are the future of the country. Wherever he went, he told them, "You are born to do great things." He always gave time to students, no matter how busy he was. In one school, he stayed an extra hour just to answer a small girl's question. In another college, he missed his flight because he wanted to finish speaking to the students. These moments showed how much he cared. He listened to students with full attention. He asked them about their dreams. Some wanted to be doctors. Others wanted to be pilots, teachers, or artists. He smiled and said, "Start today. Think big and never stop learning." His soft voice gave students strength. They felt seen. They felt heard. He also gave many motivational speeches. One of his most famous talks was called "My Vision for India." In it, he spoke about freedom, development, and responsibility. He said, "India must become a developed country. You, the youth, will lead that change." Abdul Kalam believed in asking students to write down their dreams. He said, "When you write your dream, you give it life." In many schools, children created dream books. They filled them with pictures and notes about their future. Kalam often signed these books and wrote messages like, "Fly high," or "You can do it." He also created a plan called Providing Urban Amenities in Rural Areas. He shared this idea with students and asked for their support. The plan focused on giving villages the same basic needs as cities: roads, schools, internet, and clean water. He believed the youth could help build a strong and equal India. Kalam loved to ask one simple question: "What will you do for your country?" He believed every student had a role to play. Whether big or small, every action mattered. He did not expect all of them to become scientists. He just wanted them to be good people and serve with love. One time, a student asked him, "Sir, what is the best gift you can give a child?" Kalam replied, "The best gift is a dream with a direction." This idea stayed with many. It became the heart of his connection with the youth. Every year, on his birthday, October 15th, many schools celebrate Students' Day in India. They do this to honor his love for students. For millions of young people, Abdul Kalam is not just a name. He is a guiding light. Chapter 10. Awards and Honors. During his life journey, Abdul Kalam received many awards. These awards came from India and from other countries. But he always said, "Awards are not for me. They are for my team, my country, and the youth." In 1981, the government of India gave him the Padma Bhushan. This is one of the country's highest civilian honors. Later, in 1990, he received the Padma Vibhushan, the second highest civilian award. These were given for his work in space and defense. Then in 1997, he received India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna. This award is very special. Only a few great Indians have received it. Abdul Kalam was proud, but he stayed humble. When he got the award, he said, "This is for my country's scientists." Many universities gave him honorary doctorates. Over 40 universities around the world honored him. These included schools in the US, UK, South Korea, and Switzerland. They praised his work in science, education, and peace. But he always introduced himself simply as a teacher. In 2005, Switzerland declared May 26th as Science Day in honor of his visit. That was a rare and special moment. Few world leaders have received such respect from another country. Abdul Kalam also received international awards like the King Charles II Medal from the Royal Society in the UK. He became a member of several top science groups around the world. People respected him not just for his knowledge, but for his humility. One of his proudest honors was from students. Many schools, libraries, and science labs were named after him. A large science center in Kerala is called the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Science Center. Many children visit it every year to learn about rockets, energy, and inventions. He also became a part of many student programs. In some schools, students took a special promise called the Kalam Oath. In this oath, they promised to work hard, respect others, and serve the country. His face was later printed on Indian postage stamps. His photos were used in school books and classroom walls. People kept his picture not as a celebrity, but as a role model. Abdul Kalam accepted every honor with a quiet smile. He never asked for attention. He always said, "True honor comes not from medals, but from love and respect." That is why millions of people, young and old, remember him with deep love. Chapter 11. Final Years and Legacy. In his final years, Abdul Kalam continued his journey of service. He had no plans to retire. He said, "As long as I can walk and talk, I will keep meeting students." And that is what he did, until the very end. In July 2015, he was invited to give a lecture at the Indian Institute of Management, IIM Shillong. As always, he was excited to speak with young minds. He traveled to Shillong by plane, even though he was 83 years old. He carried his own bag, filled with books and notes. On July 27, 2015, he stood in front of the students, ready to speak. He had just begun his talk on creating a livable planet. Then suddenly, he felt unwell. He collapsed on the stage. Doctors tried to help him, but it was too late. Abdul Kalam passed away doing what he loved, speaking to students. The news of his death spread across India and the world. People cried. Children in schools stood in silence. Flags were lowered. The government declared 7 days of national mourning. His body was flown to Ramswaram, his hometown, for the final farewell. Thousands of people came to see him one last time. Some walked for hours. Others waited in line to pay their respects. His funeral was held with full national honors. His grave was built near his home, close to the sea he loved as a child. Later, the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam National Memorial was built at the same spot. Even after his passing, his work and ideas continued to grow. Schools and colleges started Kalam clubs to promote science and service. His books became part of school libraries. Teachers used his speeches for English listening practice. Students kept reading about his life journey and real story. In 2018, the Indian government renamed the Wheeler Island in Odisha as Abdul Kalam Island. This was where many of his missile tests had taken place. It was a perfect tribute to the missile man of India. His life became more than a story. It became a guide. People remembered his smile, his simple clothes, his kind eyes. They remembered a man who rose from a small house to the highest office in the land. But more than that, they remembered a man who always stayed humble. Abdul Kalam's legacy lives on in classrooms, science labs, libraries, and in the dreams of millions. He showed that true strength comes from knowledge, kindness, and service, and that no matter where you start, you can reach the stars. Thank you, my friend, for joining me in this English listening practice. We learned English through the true story of Abdul Kalam. a real story filled with dreams, science, and service. His life journey touched hearts across the world. I hope you could imagine each moment clearly. If you enjoyed this biography, feel free to like, share, or leave a comment. Your support helps us bring more real stories for learners like you. Keep listening, keep reading, and keep learning through stories. See you next time.